Hey, peace and bless. This is BARUTI LIBRE right here, and I have a special guest by the name of NERIS. This is my first time utilizing StreamYard.
Hi.
Tell everyone hello, tell them where you're from, and tell everyone about yourself.
Hi. I'm from Dominican Republic. I would say that I'm a professional dancer and choreographer and a teacher, Spanish and English teacher. Yeah, I have a
Salute.
couple of years doing both things. Yes.
Excellent, excellent, excellent.
And
Tell
thank
people
you
where you're
for the
from in DR.
invitation. Santo Domingo. Right now I'm living in Cristo Rey, but I'm from Los Minas, actually.
Nice,
It's not
nice.
that
Boo.
far from Cristo Rey.
Word. That's what I'm talking about right there. Hey, it's a pleasure to have you on, as a matter of fact. And the thing is that what inspired us to do this episode right here is because I saw a status on your social media page as it pertains to what you're looking for in a man. So then from there, that was when I responded to that status. Well, you could explain it better, and then we could proceed from there.
But wait. I don't remember what was that post, to be honest. But the thing is that we talk about a lot about the same subject, like repeatedly in lessons
Right.
and in that. But I remember exactly what was.
Okay, okay. Okay. To go back into my memory bank, I think that you posted
Uh-huh,
a depiction, an animation stating that
uh-huh.
you're interested in a man that does a whole bunch of kissing on a woman all the time, according to the animation, like kissing all over the woman
Oh,
and invading the woman's space. If my memory serves me correctly.
yes, it's true. I didn't say that I didn't. I want that for me particularly. I was just posting thing, and that for me
Right.
it tended to be funny. But I
Right. Right.
understand what you're saying. Yes. Okay. Yes. Guilty.
Understandable. Understandable. Well, it did bring a chuckle. I did laugh, but it didn't glad for me to respond
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah. You told me that I wouldn't want that. I'm pretty sure that you don't want that. That's what you
Right.
said.
Right.
That's
Exactly.
how.
Exactly.
Hmm.
So the thing is that provoked us to come up with the idea of having this conversation live, which is what brings
Yeah.
us here on November the 17th at 10
Yeah.
p.m. Eastern time, but 11 p.m. in the Dominican Republic or Republica Dominicana.
República Dominicana. Yes. Okay. So yes. What are your thoughts about that, and why do you think
Mhm.
a woman wouldn't want that?
Right. Okay. Well, the thing about it is this: when I saw this, this was a very comical post, but at the same time, though, through my studies of anthropology, through my
Mm,
studies of human history,
mm,
evolutionary psychology as it relates to humans, especially the male and female dynamic, and also from my observations of the male and female dynamic, and also as a participant in dating in the Western Hemisphere, specifically in North America, and also throughout the planet, is just that men are genetically wired to be protectors, providers, and also to be the dominant form for the basis of survival, which is the reason why us human beings, or in Latin, the Homo sapiens sapien, is in existence to this day and is considered to be the master of this planet as it relates to living species, as far as we have the cognition to even know. So the thing is that as it relates to females, or should I say the female species rather, because female is an adjective, it's not a noun. The female species, for the purpose of survival and also for the survival of the children and also the babies, has to cling to the man for security. But when we look at the earlier stages of evolutionary history, security was based on only physical strength. But due to the various revolutions that have occurred through the evolutionary trajectory of humanity, security is not just physical anymore. Security has evolved to become financial. Security
yeah.
has evolved to become intellectual. Security has evolved to be material. Security has evolved to be social, based on relationships, based on the specialization of labor, which is why you had the Neolithic Revolution, which gave birth to agriculture, which eventually gave birth to the specialization of labor, like I stated, which gave birth to civilizations, and civilizations gave birth to technology and everything else. So when I looked at that post, that is where my mind went. My mind went somewhere else as it relates to that. So, and also in the Western world, to bring things up to speed and also to make things more entertaining and spicy, because I know I went into history briefly in this discussion. From my experiences here in the United States, due to the rise of feminism, during the past 50 plus years or so, and also is growing now more so than ever due to the propaganda within music, within entertainment, art, literature, cinema, social media, and everything else. Women are not attracted to the guy that is perceived as weak. Not saying that the guy is weak, because you have different case by case scenarios, but a
Yeah.
guy that is perceived as weak in the woman's eyes based on her level of education or small level of lack of education, depending on the woman. So when a guy is seen being romantically involved with the woman continuously to the point of annoyance, it could be perceived as a turnoff, at least here from my experiences here in
Yeah.
the United States. I'm sure, and possibly, I'm sure you could expound on this momentarily, that is different where you are in the Dominican Republic. But here in the United States, it's considered a turnoff because the women have been socialized to be supposedly masculine. But the thing about it is that that's questionable right there based on the propaganda that is pushed. And the thing is that the man has inversely started to become more feminine, and it's causing a lot of divergences and a lot of confusion as it relates to the dating and social dynamic of the male and female in the Western Hemisphere, not to mention the creation of these new genders within the past 10 years, but that's another discussion. So how about in the Dominican Republic? You mind expounding on your perspective on these things?
Okay, so to be honest, it might be surprising for you, for people that doesn't live here in DR,
Right.
but actually it's almost the same thing. I do not know. It's because we are trying to uh like imitate whatever is going on in the States, right?
Right.
But it's here, it's basically happening the same thing. However, about what you said, that if the man seems to be like acting romantically, like to the point that is annoying, you said it, to the point that is annoying. If I do
Mm-hmm.
that same thing to you or to my man,
Mm-hmm.
it's gonna be the same. So the fact that a man is romantic doesn't mean that that he's weak. I don't know if you see it that way, if they see it in the States that way, but normally when a woman is emotionally intelligent and she knows what she wants, and she knows that when a man is appreciating her, I don't think that's annoying.
Right, right. Understandable right there. And respectable. And the thing is that I don't think that all women would see that as annoying, but it's just that stereotypically, since the millennial generation, I think that you're in the millennial generation as well, or at the tail end of it. And then the Y
Okay.
generation, I guess that's what they're calling it. Well, the
I don't know. I'm
generation after
sorry.
ours.
After I
Right,
was
right,
this,
right,
I think it's
exactly.
the alpha one, millennials. I don't know. I'm pretty confused about that. However, I'm 30. I was born in 1993. So
Right, right, right. Understandable. So we're around the same age, but the generation after
yeah.
us, and also I would say our generation, we started to see a lot of changes as it relates to the
Hmm.
behaviors that are exhibited by women and men in mass media. And of course, with me studying politics, I think that this is by design anyway, for the purpose of causing more and more confusion. Because the more confusion that is caused at the bottom, it makes it easier for the folks at the top in order to maintain their generational power. But I think that it all depends. But I think that with the way that women have been manipulated and men have been manipulated, I think that from my experiences and from me looking vicariously at other situations, women see that as an irritability and also as a sign of weakness. And also, I've had women who have gossiped to me, and I had to check them sometimes in the past, because now I'm more introverted and secluded these days, especially here in this country. I had to tell
Okay.
them, why are you speaking disparagingly about this guy? You see,
Okay.
especially to me, like, number one, I'm not a psychiatrist. And number two, you should be lucky and privileged that you have a guy that is showing you compassion and showing you that kind of
Exactly.
respect, because it could be way
Exactly.
worse for you. You see?
That's what I'm saying. Like that person probably was not emotionally intelligent. She didn't know. She doesn't appreciate a good man. Like I don't think it's going to be annoying for somebody that is prepared to have a man like that. Okay. But yes, but the
Right.
dating market here, it's basically almost the same. Yesterday, since I knew that I was having this conversation with you, I don't have that much experience, so I needed to talk to my friends, different women, to see what is your opinion. Tell me how it's out there, are how men are behaving, how how are you behaving? What do you want in a man? What are you looking for? And yeah, they told me a bunch of things. I was like, oh my God, this is a disaster. And
Mhm.
I got to the conclusion that it's even scary, to be honest. It's not supposed to be like that, but it's really scary because they're telling me, okay, now guys, they don't want to commit and they're using the words emotional intelligence to stay out of commitment. And I'm like, how is that? Yes, because they ask you to go out, they don't want to do anything. They don't want to. They're not asking for a relationship, but they wants to stay around. But I'm like, okay, so but what do you want? And even though they explain that they want to have a relationship, it's like, okay, so the solution is basically you stepping out of that if you don't want that. But yeah,
Mm.
they are. It's the same. It's the same. Like yesterday, somebody,
Well,
somebody, somebody asked me to go out. I'm like, and yeah, I was saying like I like to have like a good relationship. I like commitment and all of that. And he said, if you think you're gonna have a man to yourself for yourself, you're dreaming. Like keep dreaming.
mm.
And I was like,
Okay.
okay. So
Right. Well, you just raised an excellent point just now, because according to human
here we go.
evolutionary psychology,
Here we go.
women by nature are hypergamous and men by nature are polygamous. But the thing is that the purpose of culture and also the purpose of religion, well, religion is nothing but a belief backed by action, and culture is what you do,
Mhm,
how you do it, and when you do it. But
mhm,
the culture that the person lives under, or the religion that the person lives under, and religion and culture, they're somewhat tantamount to one another. It's just that one is deified and one isn't. Basically goes against or complements the nature of that said species. In this case, we're talking about human beings. So hypergamous, well, that's a basically it basically derives from a Latin or Greek term, which means someone that is interested, or a woman that is looking to marry someone of higher status. And polygamy, we all know what that is. You see, basically a man that is interested in engaging with more than one woman. So the reality
okay.
of that situation is this: it's like in the Eastern world, and depending on where in the Eastern world, depending on the tribe or the culture in the Eastern world, I know that that's very prevalent. And also, I know that in the Western world, it's monogamous due to the fact that we live in a Judeo-Christian kind of society, whether on the Roman Catholic side, as it relates to where you are, or in the Protestant side, as it
Mhm,
relates to where I'm at.
mhm.
And also, as it relates to that situation at hand, I had a mental block just now. So the thing is that I'm trying to ruminate. Okay, hypergamy as it relates to women, and then polygamy as it relates to men. So it all depends on the situation, but I think that as it relates to a healthy relationship, we need to be aware of these things, but also both sides need to come to the table, disclosing what they want, disclosing what they want to pursue, and so that there won't be any confusion. And then from there, things should be harmonious. But what's your take?
Well, okay, so I'm not a therapist, but I've seen people trying to do that, right? And it
Right, right,
always ends horribly wrong,
right, right.
right? So even though I understand that men have the desire to have priority, like they think about another woman, they are capable of having relationships, sexual relationships without having feelings involved. I totally understand that. However, every time that I see someone trying to have like this open relationship, it ends wrong because they
Right.
don't have the time. Like you know that being with one woman, it's complicated enough. You need, and this is not woman, even me trying to get to know somebody, it takes time, money,
Mm.
effort, commitment. So every time that I try to do that, it doesn't work. So I don't understand how, if the man, I think it's just that something that is biologically okay, they want to do that, but are they capable of doing that for real? Do they have the
Nah.
money to do that? Okay, so again, so what we're going to do about that?
Right. Well, this is the thing right here. As it relates to polygamy, it's not for everyone, meaning that it
No.
does require a lot of resources. And the thing about it is
Yeah.
that obviously it's challenging to please everyone. And also, it's challenging for one man to take care of himself, let alone take care of another woman, or one woman plus. So
Yeah.
it's very challenging to do. But at the same time, it is the biological nature a lot of the time. But not saying that every man is inclined to do that, or every man has has the intention of doing it, but it's just within our biological coding to do that, because a man could impregnate as many women possible, but a woman could only get pregnant once within a 9-month interval, typically speaking. So
Yeah.
biology even states that from that simplistic standpoint. And as an aside, do you hear interference in the background? I know that I hear it.
Probably it's raining a lot. I don't know if it's me. I don't hear interference. I hear you clearly. Probably it's
Okay,
me.
excellent, excellent. Great to hear. Great to hear right there. Great to hear right there. You know, understandable, understandable. So let me ask you. Oh yeah, did you want to expound on that, by the way?
Yes, I wanted to say that, you know that uh we're biologically different. So the fact that, for example, I know that women are more emotional. I know I'm a woman. I know how I feel. Sometimes you just have certain reactions.
Okay.
But the fact that I'm emotional doesn't mean that every time that I have a situation, I'm going to go crazy just because biologically I'm emotional, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that the man it's wants to have desire from one woman, it means that he has to like please that desire.
Well,
It's a question actually.
right, understandable, understandable. Well, the thing about it is this, like, as far as any human relationship or any dynamic, whether we talk about a friendship, a relationship, romantic relationship, or a marriage, then both sides need to be transparent and open with one another about what they want. And then from there should be a meeting of the minds, or if there isn't a meeting of the minds, then both sides should diverge or come to an agreement or a consensus as it relates to how to proceed. And
Mhm.
all problems are solved through questions and answers. And as long as both sides are upfront about one another, then that's what matters. Because me personally, this is just me talking, my humble opinion. I don't
Mhm.
believe in cheating myself. I don't believe in deception or anything of that nature, especially if you're trying to recruit a team member. And in this case, the team member would be someone that one is dating. But at the same time, though, if one is interested in polygamy, then one should be upfront about it and let that partner know that this is what they're interested in. And with dealing with me, this is what comes with the situation right there. And that one should take it or leave it. That's from my perspective right there. Because we have a lot of deception going on, because you have a lot of males that are not exhibiting manhood. And part of being a man is being truthful, standing on your truth, and then leading with your truth. And a lot of men aren't doing that from the global scale due to the fact that the system is not designed for males to be men, especially, or most importantly, people of color on the planet, no matter if you're black, brown, red, yellow, purple, blue, whatever. It's not designed for you to be a man. It's designed for you to be a boy forever, paying taxes and not being a threat to anything.
Okay. Okay. So now I have a question for you.
Yes, yes, definitely, definitely.
Since you've been like here before,
Yes.
DR, you obviously you're American. My question for you is, do you think that Dominican women here they are more feminine than the ones that are in the States?
Okay, from my experiences, I would say that generally speaking, because yeah, yeah, because I that's funny, that's funny. Like from my experiences, I would have to say yes for the most part. But the thing about it is that I know that there are some that
Mhm.
do exhibit masculine traits because of globalization. And with globalization, you have the globalization of content, the globalization of propaganda, and also the globalization of influencers pushing their influence onto people all over the planet with Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and everything else. So
Yeah.
a lot of kids, a lot of women, a lot of men are emulating the influencers that they see, whether they're rappers, whether they're comedians, whether they're celebrities or anything of that nature. So I've encountered women that exhibit stereotypical pseudo masculine behavior that I see that is familiar from what I see in the United States. Yes, I've seen that, but for the majority, the women have been very sweet, very submissive, but also at the same time, they could be conniving as well, from what I've noticed, because the thing is that what brings us all together is that we're still living under the same system. So we just are in different locations. And it's all packaged differently, but we're still living under the same systems, dealing with different problems. So when one is under these different circumstances, one adapts differently. Like for example, or do we talk about the woman in New York City or in New Jersey that's going through issues, or the woman in Santo Domingo, Santiago, or anywhere else that's surviving and trying to come up with a way and trying to figure it out. So it all depends. But I would say that from my experiences, they've been very cool for the most part. And don't get me wrong, some of them have been aggressive as well. I would have to be honest. It just comes with the territory.
Okay, that's good to know because you
Mhm.
know, being a teacher and talking to people all over the world, like actually
Yes.
opened my eyes. And I know that if you think that situation that you are going through in the States, it's not happening in any other country, no. Like my
Right.
students from China is the same. Like women are
Mhm.
working, they are trying to make money. Now they don't depend financially like from a man. So every time that they try to have a relationship, they try to have a good, healthy relationship, and men are like, okay, I don't want to commit. I, but
Mhm.
how? So if the woman, because that's what they say, like I'm going to Dominican Republic to get a girl.
Mhm.
Normally, not
Yes.
every woman is like this, but they think, oh, a green card.
Right.
So
Right.
of course, if I want something from you, of course, I'm going to act like more submissive than ever. I will do whatever I have to do because that's what I want. It's not every woman here. I know that people fall in love and they have a relationship, they get married and everything. But the majority of people that I see in this type of relationship is because they want something from this
Yes.
American guy. So are they coming here because we are really feminine, or is because they can't they these women want something from them?
I think that is both, and I think that depends on the woman as well, because, like for example, a woman, a woman coming from Santo Domingo, Santiago, San Francisco, going to Sosua, maybe a different kind of woman that went to the technology university or the autonomous university of Santo Domingo, or the woman that's from the country area, the countryside somewhere in
Sure.
Cabarete or Saminat. And I'm just, like I said, I'm just being stereotypical now. I'm not talking
Yeah.
about all women in these different cities. So the thing is that that's a different dynamic. But what undergirds all of these women morally is etiquette. Like a lot
Yeah.
of the women that I've noticed, the commonality that they have is etiquette. Like, for example, I would say that the Dominican woman in the Dominican Republic, typically speaking, this may be controversial what I'm about to say, so I'm about to watch it, but I'm going to just convey it anyway. The
Yep.
Dominican woman in the Dominican Republic may be more sophisticated in getting what they want than possibly a typical American woman. I would say a Dominican American woman, but I don't want to do
Okay.
that. I would say a typical American woman, because a typical American woman will come with a loud voice, deep voice, hyper masculine, being authoritative, being condescending,
Mhm.
being disrespectful, being
Mhm.
devilish, and all of this, and not get nothing and still suffer with the government
Yeah.
taking care of them or them doing very sinister things in order to earn a living. But the Dominican woman, even if she doesn't genuinely feel this way, would exhibit some form of etiquette, some form of
That's
finesse,
true.
some form of hospitality in
It's
order to
true.
get what they want.
That's true. That's true. I have to agree 100% because I know, and I see the different. I know. I know. I just yeah. I totally understand. However, women here are like kind of not opening their eyes. It's just like they would like to have a good relationship with a man that is a provider that will care for her. And my for example, my friends, they are like me. I can only talk about them. The other part is just like me because I like to observe. I like to pay attention to what is going on around me because I'm actually worried about my society. But my friends
That's
are
good.
hardworking, and normally when they get into a relationship, I know that they're kind. I know them. However, you never know what goes like inside of a relationship. But what it seems is like they are good, but they get cheated on, and the relationship has to stop because of that.
Right.
That's what I
Unfortunate.
see.
Right. Right. Is very unfortunate right there. Well,
Mm-hmm.
thing about it is that it's all over. It's like nature is undefeated a lot of the times when it comes to certain things, but the thing about it is that it's a case by case scenario and it depends on the man. But based on the majority of a lot of the males, from what I've heard, and also from people that I've encountered, and they will share their stories, a lot of males do cheat. Not all males cheat, but a lot of males do, due to the fact that, from a natural standpoint, males
Okay.
stereotypically have an inclination to be sexually aroused
Mm-hmm.
with having multiple women, excuse me. But the thing is that women, on the other hand, are hypergamous due to the fact that they are relying on men for security. So
Yeah.
the reality of the fact is this: with women being hypergamous, that's the reason why in the DR, a lot of women will gravitate to a man that has a lot of resources in order to obtain a green card or to live a very extravagant lifestyle in the home country. And in America, what is happening, or so-called North America or the United States, what's going on is this: a lot of the women are getting manipulated and propagandized by the feminist movement, and they
Mm-hmm.
are starting to become more masculine in their behavior. And also, there's been a lot of advances as it relates to women occupationally here in the so-called United States. So due to the fact that women are generating a lot of revenue and women are becoming supposedly self-sufficient here in this country where I'm geographically located, they think
Mm-hmm.
that they have the leverage, and then they exhibit that behavior towards a lot of the males, which are driving a lot of males to go international as it relates to finding women. But at the same time, though, women still depend on the man. But the thing is that a lot of men or males here in the so-called United States are becoming weak mentally and spineless to the point at which they acquiesce to women that are being authoritative, condescending, disrespectful, and dictatorial towards them.
Yes, that's true. That's correct. That's correct. Another thing that I see here, well, something that got my attention yesterday. One of the girls said that, okay, so the only men that that they're kind of cool today are really, they're not attractive at all.
Right, right. I hear you. I hear you.
And I was like, what you mean? No, not even their mama want them. What do you mean? I'm like, they're not good looking. They don't take care of themselves and all that. So you see, this is a thing. My friends, they go to the gym, they work, they go to therapy, they do
Right.
this, they do that, they try to be better. And normally you don't see a man working all those areas, right? They're focused on
Mm-hmm.
making money most of the time, but not
Right.
working the emotional part, because you need to have certain emotional intelligence for you to be in a relationship. Even though you're a man and you're really logical, you need to understand women. Women need to understand men. I need to understand what a man want. They need to know what, it's, they have to do that. But the majority of them, they don't do that. Majority of girls that I know, they go to therapy, they try to be better, they talk to them, they try to go to counseling, everything. But
Mm-hmm.
when you talk to guys, if you tell them something like this, they say that they're not gay. This is for
Mm-hmm.
homosexuals, and that they're not. What was the other thing? Because there's something else that they say. I'm not crazy.
Right, right, right.
I'm not gay.
Right. It's frowned upon. It's frowned upon, basically.
Yeah, it's really annoying. And I'm like, no, no. Everybody, well, you don't have to go to therapy, but you need to work that emotional part however you can. Do whatever you
Mm-hmm.
have to do, but just you have to do it.
Right, right.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, this is the thing right here. As it relates to the looks part, there's a debate that's going on, especially within anthropology and also
Hmm.
within the study of human evolutionary science. Are looks universal or are they aren't? You see, so that's a debate that's going on right there. And also, there's a school of thought. There's the red pill school of thought. Well, there's the blue pill school of thought. And these metaphors come from the Matrix. There's the blue pill, there's the red pill, and there's the black pill. The blue pill is basically one that doesn't have cognizance or,
Hey, let me interrupt you
yes.
there. And there's the pink pill. Okay.
Right. I never heard of the pink pill before.
Yeah, you will soon, pretty soon. They're just
Okay.
pretty
Right.
soon. But yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Sorry.
Excellent. No problem. You have the blue pill, and the person that is of the blue pill ideology is someone that doesn't have cognizance or knowledge as it relates to the dynamics of male and female nature. And that
Mm,
is someone that just goes into a relationship naively, but they're amenable and susceptible to getting their heart broken due to the fact that they don't have the knowledge of women's nature being hypergamous and male's nature being polygamous as it relates to on the animalistic standpoint, not from a cultured or civilized standpoint, whatever civilization is, because that's all subjective as it relates to one's cultural makeup.
mhm,
The red pill goes into the reality of male and female nature, the good, the bad, and the ugly, as it relates
mhm,
to the nature and also the social and political dynamics that influence the behaviors of males and females even up until this day. But the red pill gives alternative solutions to these problems as it relates to what you were talking about earlier: self-improvement, going to the gym, possibly therapy. Some talk about therapy, some don't talk about therapy, but self-improvement, going to the gym, grooming, fashion, and everything else. But the black pill basically deals with the harsh reality of things, basically saying that looks matter before anything. Looks matter before money. Looks matter before status. Looks matter before every other classification. And if you are not born with the genetical gift of the looks, the high cheekbones, the strong jaw, the facial hair, the bushy eyebrows, the small eyes, the colorful eyes possibly, and the hair texture, depending on your race or your ethnicity, then you lost out on the data marketplace. And you should not even prioritize dating and focusing on women. You should just focus on yourself and enjoy life. And if women come to you, then that's good. But if they don't come to you, then it's still good. So that's the blue pill, the red pill, and the black pill. And the thing about it is that I think that there are truths within the red pill and in the black pill as it relates to things, because in order for one to become free, one needs to accept the truth. And if one wants to know who they are, one needs to be able to accept the truth. And if one wants to have a successful relationship, one needs to have knowledge of yourself. And once one has knowledge of self, then one will be able to know how to deal with everyone around them. But in this case, they'll know how to deal with the woman that they're looking to get with, or the woman that's looking to get with them. So that's my perspective on that.
Okay, so here we do have a lot of red pill guys. They just don't know that they're red pill guys, right? So sometimes I have to tell them, hey, you're kind of red pill. I am really aware about everything because I have YouTube, and sometimes I follow them. I am the type of person that even your content, I won't follow everything that you say. If you say something that is smart, that I can prove, I can see, probably from my experience, I will give you the benefit of the doubt. And if you're right, you're right. However, with the red pill community, I do have like a situation. First, all of the leaders, red pill leaders, they're going through some type of trouble right now with justice, with a YouTube platform, because due to their behavior. From Andrew Tate to Fresh and Fit, if you see them all, they're having some type of problem with society, and not because they're doing something positive. It has to be something that is not okay, because sometimes you have strong opinions and people will disagree with you. That's totally fine. This is the world. Okay, that's totally fine. However, if you're going through some type of things like with justice, like you have to reflect and see, okay, what is going on. But yeah, I do know the red pill. There are a lot of things that I like about, like, self-improvement and all of that part. However, when they start degrading women, because this is the thing. Right. According to them, if you're 30 years old and you're not married, you don't have kids, you're not attractive for a guy. So your possibilities are to get married are really low, and whatever. But I stopped, like, how to say, banishing people because they're not married, because it's not something that depends only on one person. Right. Let's say that I got into a relationship. I thought that was my guy. He was doing everything right, but something happened. It's like, I cannot force somebody to be married to me. How come? So it's not something that depends on only one person. It's two. It's everything that has to do with somebody else is not under your control. You cannot control that. You can do everything right. Still, this person will say, hey, I don't want you anymore. Whatever. It's not on you. So why people still seeing you? Okay, if you're not, you have no value because you're not married. I know a lot of women, they want to get married just to have some type of status, not because they really want to have a good relationship. Especially women. This is something that happens with women. Men, I don't know, but yeah, I don't understand that part. That's my thoughts on the red pill community. Even though I just take the good part, and everything that I don't consider I just put it in the trash, and that's it.
Understandable. Well, as it relates to the red pill, you have different influencers, and the different influencers, they come with their unique personalities and their unique talking points that they bring to the table. But the commonality of the red pill community or the red pill ideology is masculine frame, having an abundance mindset just in case a woman changes up on you.
Mm-hmm.
Masculine frame, abundance mindset, and being purpose driven. And basically, being purpose driven will attract women due to the fact that one is working on improving oneself and living in one's purpose, besides prioritizing the sexualization of the various women in which they encounter. Because if one is doing that, then one is not on their purpose, because one can't juggle the two. One needs to focus on their purpose, and with focusing on one's purpose, then that'll attract women, and that's according to the red pill ideology. And also, as it relates to the red pill perspective on women, there are very big talking points, a very large talking points within the red pill community that states that women peak usually between the ages of 18 all the way up until like around 30. Some say 35. It all depends on the coach or the influencer, like I stated before, due to the fact that women could only procreate up until a certain time. You see, because the thing is that women are biologically wired to procreate and also have children. So in order for them to do so before their time is up, they need to get with the most valuable man possible according to their taste or their inclination as it relates to the men that they see as desirable, or the man that they see as desirable. But what's going on here where I'm located in, and a lot of red pill sympathizers are frustrated with this, is that a lot of these women act like they can procreate forever when really that's not the
No,
case.
that's
And a lot of the women here where I'm located think that they have a lot of options, but a lot of the options that they have are actually low value men that are emulating a lot of the rappers, the actors, and the influencers that they see on television and that they see on social media. So even though women's nature is hypergamous, what we see is a situation in which women, where I'm located, not all women, we're not going to do that. I'm not going to stereotype it. I don't want for my words to get misinterpreted by anyone who may be viewing. But the thing is that the majority of the women that are a part of the so-called matrix, they are influenced by the lives of celebrities when the celebrity life is not a normalcy. A
this
celebrity
is
doesn't live a normal life compared to a
this is
so-called
true.
normal person as it relates to the socioeconomic stratification system that we all live under. So what
It's
happens
that.
that a lot of these women get infatuated and intrigued and manipulated by these celebrities to the point in which they forget that they're living a reality, and they miss out on having a good man who may court them. And also, a lot of folks in the red pill community are men who have been heartbroken and traumatized by a lot of these women who are miseducated, misguided, and
Yeah.
also influenced by these celebrities who are miseducated, misinformed, and misguided as well. So you
True.
have a lot of these influencers in the red pill community who vent their frustrations, and a lot of the time it may sound emotionally inclined, it may sound erratic, but if one dissects through a lot of what they're saying, then some of the things that they're saying may be true, and also some of it is accurate, some of it is corroborated by facts, and a lot of it is whimsical, and also a lot of it may be mendacious or questionable. But I get what you're saying as
Yes,
it relates to
it's
that.
true. Here, people they're following a lot of Instagram. You can see it in their bodies.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of women are getting BBLs and all of that.
Yes.
Even though when Dominican women we have pretty like by nature we are it's
Right.
different. We don't have the European uh, body structure. Even though they are doing a lot of surgeries, this is something like it's becoming very common. Like
Yes.
your
Yes.
neighbor
I know.
can just have a surgery, like, and I know it's Instagram stereotypes, things that we see on the TV, because here we are not ready to have certain conversations. Like we are racist too. We are
Mm-hmm.
not ready for that conversation. I have a podcast, and sometimes I come up with this subject like why is that you see in the TV all the people that you see that they have the same type of face, same type of hair? Do you see really black people like me? Maybe
Right.
you will see somebody a little bit like really, really light. You know that is
Mm-hmm.
black, but you don't
Mm-hmm.
see black people, and we are black. We don't even recognize
Right.
that. So that is something that people also see, and that's the reason why representation is really important. Dominican Republic having some I don't know how you call it. It's like they don't know themselves yet
Right.
that
Identity
much.
crisis. Yes.
Identity crisis. And that's the reason why much a lot of women are doing that. misrepresentation, maybe.
Understandable, and
That is
that's an excellent point that you brought up, because it's not just in the Dominican Republic, but it's in the Dominican communities here in the United States as well.
okay.
Like, like there are Dominicans that are as dark as my jacket who would tell me with a straight face that they're not black, and there have been
Yeah.
times in which I've debated them and
Yeah.
proved to them what they were, and that they're
Yeah.
ashamed of who they
Yeah.
were, and I don't blame them because they're victims of circumstance as well. If one
Yeah.
is not exposed to the information, that I can't fault the person that has never been exposed to the information. I would have to fault the teacher for not conveying that information to them. And in this case, the teachers were
Mm.
the conquistadors who basically Europeanized the mindsets of a lot of folks in the DR, just like the conquerors over where I'm at colonized a lot of our minds. And also, when you're dealing with a group of people that immigrate to another country for better opportunities, it will be an economical conflict of interest for them to align themselves with people that look like them in another location if they try to escape people that look like them from their homeland. So from me going to the DR and with me opening my mind a little bit, I had to understand that perspective as well. Not that I agree with it, because of the fact
Mm.
that I am anti-colonialism, I'm anti-racism, I'm anti-injustice, I'm anti all of that. And also
Mhm.
with me having a knowledge of self as it relates to the African contributions to civilization, and also for folks that disagree with me who are of Dominican ancestry or of the Latino community, guess what? The reason why Spain has a lot of culture is because of the African influence in Spain, because back in 711 AD, Tariq ibn Zaid, a Moor from northern Africa, led the Umayyad army all the way up into Spain in 711 AD and colonized the Iberian Peninsula, Spain and Portugal, all the way up into 1492, which is ironically the same year that Cristobal Colon supposedly discovered Hispaniola, which is now
Yes.
the east side where you are, and the west side, Haiti. You see,
Yes.
they introduced oranges, fruits, built the University of Salamanca in España, brought mathematics, brought architecture, brought the various sciences, brought all of that into Spain. So when one tries to denigrate the Africanity of the Latin America, specifically of Dominican culture, it's like, look, you're black on both sides, whether you want to talk about the African side from West Africa or whether you want to talk about your conquistadors, because the Moors have already, and Africans already traveled to the Americas before Cristobal Colon. Where did Cristobal Colon probably, according to some scholars, learned about the western part of the world? From the
Exactly.
Moors, who already
Exactly.
colonized that area.
And you
And
still
also, if you
have
look at Spain, yes, pardon me.
no, it's okay. It's just you still have books and teachers in school celebrating this, putting this like a heroic act, not like something
Mm-hmm.
that okay. I heard one of like a panelist saying, but what are you gonna do about it? You cannot change history. Okay, I cannot change what happened in the past. Totally, I'm agree. But do not put this like this is something good. Like he did something brave and he did us a favor. Like no, he committed like a
Right.
crime. Do you see that? So we should stop celebrating this or putting it like if it's something big and put it how it is, a crime. Um, I understand that we cannot change the past, but at least
Right.
we can tell the history exactly how it happened. We're still saying that he was the first person like coming into America, whatever, whatever, whatever. When you have uh, physical proof that Black people were navigating before, for example,
Yes.
other civilizations. Why we don't say that? People here they don't have that information. I don't know why you go to school and they don't tell you this in detail. That's
Mm-hmm.
the only thing that you hear like from him to whatever in the independencia and everything, pero no te hablan de lo que pasó atrás.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yes,
Right.
that's part
Oh,
of the problem too.
well, I had an epiphany a couple of months ago in reference to your point
Mm,
that when I look through a lot of the African centered books or the Black empowerment books within my
mm,
library, a
mm.
lot of them are translated into French and Portuguese, but a lot of them aren't translated into Spanish. So I'm like, oh, so this may be, we may be onto something right here. You see, so one
Maybe,
of the ideas
maybe.
right here that I thought of, and I probably shouldn't say this publicly, publicly, but then again, it needs to get said publicly, and someone else may do it if they're listening, if they have the resources to do it. A lot of this information may need
Exactly.
to get translated and distributed in Latin America as well. Because the thing
Exactly.
about it is that, yes, you have folks that have black pride. And even here in the United States, you have folks that have black pride. But really, what does that mean? You're just proud to being black, but don't know about the contributions to civilization, meaning that there's no foundation behind one's pride. You see,
Yes. Yes.
where it up, meaning that black people are not just folks that were just enslaved. Our history of being inventors, being engineers, being contributors to civilization, and of teaching the Europeans how to be civilized when they were running around in caves for hundreds of years is much longer than our history in slavery or under
Mm-hmm.
oppression. Our
Mm-hmm.
history being contributors to civilization is much longer than our history being oppressed. Ancient Greece and ancient
Yeah.
Rome was influenced by ancient African or black civilizations of the Nile Valley of Northern Africa. And there are a lot of books and a lot of scholars that have covered this and corroborated with facts and even through excavations on the archaeological side of things as well. But the thing is
Okay.
that the educational system is a conflict of interest to teach a nation of folks that, because then from there, that could be a threat to the power structure, and then folks will begin to wake up. Besides focusing on denigrating one another or being intoxicated with ignorance, I'm not going to speak for the DR because I'm not a Dominican person. You could speak about that more so in depth, but as it relates to our people over here in North America, as far as us knowing this information and also knowing how the economic and political system works, then that could bring about a whole lot of changes, and that will be a conflict of interest to the folks that are in power, especially the ones that control the educational system and also the means of propaganda within this country and also globally.
Okay. Yes, I totally understand and I agree with you. And we are going through the same thing. The only thing is that even though the material it's out there, it's not popular. They don't give us the
Right, right.
information. There are some books we need to do our research, but you need to do like a deep, really deep research for you to find this information. It's not like,
Right,
okay,
right.
I'm gonna explain you or everybody knows. No, not everybody's gonna know this. Not everybody's gonna know this. There's just few people. Maybe they went to college and they study a certain career, sociology like you. Maybe they will know that, but
Hmm.
otherwise, no, it's not handy. No.
Right, exactly, exactly. And this problem is unfortunately all over the planet, but I've definitely noticed that in the Dominican community. And like I said, I'm not faulting them because I can't fault anyone who doesn't know information. But the thing about it is that with a lot of them, they're leaving a country where the majority of the people look like them and are darker and trying to go to another country. So they're trying to identify with the people that are in power a lot of the time. But really, the
Yeah.
people in power are not trying to affiliate with them. So they end up forming their own communities, like in Washington Heights and various other parts of the country, Boston, and I hear they're building a community in Atlanta and everywhere else. And this is not just exclusive to the Dominicans, but various other ethnic groups as well. Because various other ethnic groups, they're trying to escape people that look like them to be around the Caucasians because they think that when they come to America, they're going to automatically become rich when it doesn't work like that. So then you have different, so
Yeah.
then you have, 5 block radiuses with people that look like them, and they're all fighting amongst one another to try to get to the top. And it's the same old
Yeah.
thing. Little Dominican Republic over here, little Puerto Rico over here, little India over here. You see, little Jamaica over here, Chinatown over here, Japantown over here. But folks don't see what's really going on. It's all a con game that's going on the global scale. And it's
Yeah.
very unfortunate. It's these divide and conquer games. Each group fighting amongst one another to try to see who's going to be in favor to the Caucasian that's on top. And what I'm saying is not racist towards all Caucasians because not all Caucasians are rich and powerful, but it's just that they have representation of rich and powerful people because these are the ones that are on top. You see?
Okay. So going back to the original subject that we were talking,
Yes, yes, definitely.
do you like? I know probably you agree, but what is your thoughts on this? The situation right now, economical situation I'm talking about, it's not allowing people to have like traditional relationships. For example, it's
Hmm.
really hard for one man to maintain a household without the help of their partner. And that's probably the reason why they're not able to have this traditional relationship. What do you think about that?
A my thought or my thoughts on that is this: with the way that this global power structure is set up, because from what you stated, the DR is experiencing a similar situation. I think
Yeah,
that men and
definitely.
women, exactly. I think that men and women have to do the best that they can. We have to do the best that we can as it relates to that. Meaning that men
Mm.
have to work on bettering themselves to the best capacity that they can, and women have to work on bettering themselves to the best capacity that they can. And we could only do our best because the system is not designed for men and women to be in love with one another and to genuinely have a great relationship with one another and to raise boys and girls to men. It's not designed to be that way. So divide and conquer games are played on a very high dimensional level all across the board. So the best thing that we can do is the best that we can, meaning that men have to have their word and stand by it, ask as many questions as possible, answer as many questions as possible in order to come to a resolution to a lot of the problems that occur as it relates to the male and female dynamic. Because the male and female dynamic, as it relates to what's going on in the DR, the United States, or any part of the planet, has an inextricable connection to the power structure as it relates to racism in the world, because that's the number one problem affecting the planet. People say, some people in the red pill community may say that women are the number one problem, or some women may say men are the number one problem. No, race is the number one problem on the planet because everything derives from that problem, because the race problem is the reason why there's legitimacy of the people on the top. Racism is a very efficient and beneficial system for the people on the top. You see, y'all probably thought that I was going to say something else until I finished my sentence, but it benefits the people at the top, and that's the number one problem that's affecting the planet. And the thing is that in order to keep that system legitimate, you have to have divide and conquer going on between the male and the female, and also to keep more confusion going on, creating new genders every couple of years as well, because
Oh
that's what's
yeah,
going on right now. You see the
I'm
different
so
flags that are flying. It's
afraid.
not just the rainbow flag.
I'm so afraid because this is this is almost here in the R, and I don't want to see my country going through the same thing. Like, I'm a dancer, and
Right,
in the dancer community, you will have different genre. For example, I don't know, hip hop, dancehall, Afro. I'm an Afro dancer, hip
mm-hmm.
hop and dancehall. But we also have like Vogue, the ballroom community,
Okay,
and they have their own thing going on, which I'm proud of them. Good for them.
right,
There you will see the different pronouns, the queer community, and all of that,
right.
and that's perfect. I said, this is your community. If you want this, you can do this. That's good because you're doing it
Understandable.
into your community. Now we are having some situation in schools,
Mm,
schools with money, meaning that normally the schools are bilingual.
right.
The main main sucursal. How do you say sucursal in English? I don't know. The main school, it's not here. It's in the States,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Right.
So we have for people that would like to have bilingual teachers and program. We have this type of schools, and now we're going through some situations like some books, some poems. Fathers, parents, that they need to step in. They need to
Mm-hmm.
step in and switch. And I'm so scared that this is going on here, because
Yes.
before you won't see that. That's something that we like. What person are pronoun? What? No, everything was kind of normal, but
Mm-hmm.
now, little by little, we're having this movement, feminist movement,
Right.
and things are not looking that good for us, like in my eyes, right? For me,
Mm-hmm.
my perspective, I don't have a kid yet, but I don't want my kid to be like to go into this type of school that, okay, they're teaching you something that I'm not teaching you yet, that you don't have the capacity to understand yet, and somebody else is doing it without my permission. I would have been really mad. And this is what is going on right now.
Understandable, understandable. And also, a lot of my friends who have kids are going through some similar problems here in this part of the Americas, as the geographers may state. They're going
Hmm.
through similar issues as it relates to that. And I agree with you. Like, for example, if one wants to identify with a certain orientation, race, class, religion, that's their prerogative and that's respectable right there.
Yes.
But when you try to superimpose that kind of lifestyle onto someone, that is a form of bullying and that's a form of oppression. And I'm against all forms of oppression right there. I don't care if it's with the rainbow flag, or I don't care if it's with an American flag or British flag or whatever. That's a form of oppression right there, and that's a form of bullying right there. So I'm definitely against that, and I definitely understand your perspective as it relates to that. And men and women, we just have to do the best that we can under these circumstances, and also we need to probably be more vigilant and more persistent as it relates to the
Yeah,
education of the children. We have to educate them probably earlier than normal and let them know
we
that,
need to
look,
stop hating on each other. Like comments like men are trash, women are trash. Women, not every woman is the same, not every woman is the same. We need to help each other instead of being, like in this continuous fight between. Nah, it's not
exactly.
gonna help us out. At the end, it's not gonna help us. And I believe in balance. Like right now, okay, I have to work, and I understand that probably from a red pill perspective that is really masculine. However, we can keep the balance between couples. Maybe like all the thing that I don't like is like people being generalizing.
Right,
The
right, right.
fact that
True.
I like a women that likes to cook, clean, and all of that, that's perfect. That's what you want. You get that to
Hmm.
yourself for yourself. But doesn't mean that every man is gonna want like a man like a woman that is gonna cook and clean for him. No, I met a guy that he likes to cook. If he likes to
Hmm.
do it, what's the problem? Is he feminine because of that? No,
Right, right.
right? We
I get
need to
what you're
stop
saying.
like generalizing. It's really stupid.
Yes, yes, it definitely is. And also, a lot of these folks, as aforementioned, they lack education. They lack cultural and historical education right there, because what's considered to be masculine and what's considered to be feminine right there, and who dictates that, and for what reason, we need to start asking the right questions. So then once we ask the right questions, we could get to the root of a lot of these problems. And then once we get to the root of a lot of these problems, then we could come up with
Yeah.
solutions or trade-offs to these problems. And then that could be a continuous cycle, because for every solution there comes another problem to solve.
Yes.
And I think
Yes. I agree.
that our purpose for living is for problem solving, meaning that everything that we should do should be based on being constructive and productive, meaning that every second and every minute of the day has to be based on constructive problem solving or doing something
Okay. Now I have some
that's going to
interference.
be beneficial time and time again, because we've wasted too much time, 400 years of time, and probably more than that, that could bring about results. And that's what we need to focus on. So a man needs to ask himself the question, why is he engaging into a relationship with this woman? And the woman needs to ask herself the question, why is she engaging into this relationship with this man? And I think that we need to ask each other these kind of questions and then proceed from there. Don't get me wrong, sexual gratification is natural, but we need to go past that.
Can you hear me?
Testing 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, I
Testing
hear
one.
you, but I think that
See me
there's
or
a
hear me.
del- I do hear you and see you, but
I think
there's
that we're going
kind
to
of a delay. Yeah, I don't know if it's me.
understandable. And also just where I can hear you and see you perfectly. And also just to let you know that we're almost at the hour mark, and I don't know if StreamYard is going to allow the recording to go past an hour, so we're probably going to have to restart the recording if that's okay.
It's okay. That's okay. That's
Excellent,
okay.
excellent. So let's keep talking, but it's probably like 30 seconds left. And then if it cuts out, then I'll just restart the recording and you could just join the link, or I'll probably resend you the link, because this is my first time on StreamYard, because this is an excellent discussion. And I think that we're really getting to the root of a lot of things right now as it relates to this topic. Because I think that
Yes.
what's missing is a lot of folks aren't asking the right questions. I think a lot of folks like to avoid that, but the thing is that we can't avoid that, because That's how we get to the root of the situation, because folks that don't ask questions end up wasting years upon years upon years upon years in dead end situations. In this case, for the sake of this discussion, we're talking about relationships right here.
Okay,
And I think that we
so
need to start asking questions.
it's not gonna. I don't think it's gonna stop. Yeah, we
Okay.
got to 1 hour already. I
All
don't
right,
think
we're
it's gonna
good.
stop. So, according to you, because I didn't hear, I don't know if you mentioned. Sorry, I do apologize if you did. But what are the questions that the folks should be asking instead of like fighting with each other, doing this type of comments, and creating this type of content that is affecting society? What type of questions should they be asking?
Right. I'm glad they asked this question, because a scholar that I like to study is someone by the name of Nellie Fuller. And Nellie Fuller, he's 94 years old. He was born on the same year as Dr. Martin Luther King. I don't know if you heard of him before.
Yeah.
He was a very famous civil rights leader here in the United States, who was responsible for desegregating a lot of public institutions, and he fought for that. And the thing about it is that he was born, Dr. Nellie Fuller, that is, was born on the same year as Dr. Martin Luther King. He's still living. He does podcasts every Tuesday morning. And he has
Okay.
a book called The Counter Racist Code Book, the United Independent Compensatory Code System. So he said that these are the four most important questions to ask to eliminate confusion. What do you want? Why do you want to do it? How do you plan to do it? And what will be the most constructive outcome of this? And this applies to friendships. This applies to being on the job. This applies to a dynamic between the producer and the consumer, or a seller and the customer. This applies to family. This applies to friendship, relationships, dating, marriage, everything else. What do you want from me? Why do you want it from me? How do you plan to get this from me? And what would be the most constructive outcome? So I think that these are questions that need to get asked, because we have been manipulated by the Hollywoodized version of what a relationship should be. That
Yeah.
honeymoon situation that we see in movies, or that we see in music videos, or that we see in all these commercials, when really relationships don't work in that way. Relationships are supposed to be logical and rational. Relationships are political. Aristotle stated, who's another student of ancient Kemet, or ancient Egypt, which was a black civilization, contrary to what they push in the media. He said that humans are political animals. And politics, the definition of politics, it denotes politics is nothing but the relationship among people. That's all politics is. We try to complicate these different definitions in order to cause more confusion, and we need to eradicate a lot of these things. So we need to understand what is the purpose of us engaging with one another for this reason. What is the agenda, and what do you want to accomplish, and how can we accomplish this as a unit? Or do you even think of me as it relates to you engaging in a relationship with me? Or do you want to extract something from me? There's no right or wrong answer. It's okay. And I think that we need real discussions as it relates to this. And I think
Okay.
that we could get somewhere. It may not get us where we want to be, but it'll get us where we should be. You see? Because a
Never
lot of
see this.
men end up getting word up, because a lot of men have their time wasted, and a lot of women end up having their time wasted. But for the sake of the discussion, we could both agree that a woman's time is very important, because they don't have a lot of time to procreate. Don't get me wrong, you have a lot of technological advancements in the medical science industry, to the point in which I'm starting to see older women giving birth. But let's be real here. The typical woman stops giving birth in their 30s or their early
Yeah.
40s, if they're lucky. So the
Sure.
thing about it is that in order to stop wasting time, men and women need to ask very pivotal questions to one another, questions which may be awkward and uncomfortable. That's why if I end up where you are, or in Latin America, I still need to improve my Spanish, because I need to share this information, because from what I'm hearing from you, this
Yeah.
kind of information is not talked about in Latin America a lot. You
My
see.
students, they tell me that I am I am
Oh,
part
yeah,
of the problem.
shameless plug. Promote what you do. Promote your teaching, your Spanish teaching. Yes, do that. Do that. You
Yes,
have the
no,
floor.
I was no, it's okay. I'm available to teach. If you want to learn Spanish, I'm the right person for you. Okay, I've been doing this for a very long
Definitely a
time, and I
cosign.
believe that I can help you out. I believe that I can help you out. But my students, female students, they say that I'm part of the problem. Uh, when it's about the passport, bro, she said they say that you are teaching them Spanish so they can go to the art and get women. But yeah, what I'm gonna do? Like, it's part of my job to talk to a lot of them, and some of them want to have it like real relationship. The other ones, no.
Right. Understandable and understandable. Well, this is the thing right here. And I had a conversation with my friend's wife, who's from the Philippines,
Hmm.
because we were talking about the economic conditions in the Philippines, which is considered to be a third world country. And the thing about it is that what the passport bros need to keep in mind, and if you're a so-called passport bro or traveler, if you're listening, then please listen up. That that's exceptional right there. That's exceptional right there. That's a great thing. At the same time, though, we need to keep in mind that there are still people living under dire conditions created by a common enemy, and we need to be very sensitive and very aware of that and move strategically, and also make sure that we leave an impact and leave a mark. Because don't get me wrong, for a lot of folks that are not looking to settle down or anything of that nature, you're still dealing with the potential mother or potential aunt or potential grandmother one day, or someone who may have influence
Yes.
around kids. So make sure when you're around that woman and engaging in erotically inclined acts, make sure that you're still dropping jewels, because them jewels could be able to be utilized in order to probably raise the next leaders of that said geographical location that you're migrating to or that you're
It's
traveling
true.
in. Because energy can't be created or destroyed, just transferred or transformed. And if you don't leave anything else on this planet, at least you leave wise words that could be shared to the next generation. So please keep that in mind, because it's bigger than just going to another country just to have intercourse. Because the thing is that if we're just doing that, then the same problems that existed today or that exist now will continue to exist for hundreds and thousands of years. And the reason why we're here, theoretically, in my opinion, is to solve problems. And even though we didn't create these problems, we were put here to solve these problems. And the reason why I know that they're problems is because you're escaping the frying pan into the fire, thinking that things are different in another location, when really it's just the same problems, just branded differently under different geographical situations and under different climatological situations. And that's what I had to
Yes.
say about that. I probably could have worded it better, but it is what it
No,
is.
that was perfect. That was perfect.
Yeah, yeah,
Wise
thank you. I'm
word.
still struggling with English, let alone Spanish.
Yeah, I'm still struggling with English too, but it's okay. I was
Right,
able to understand you perfectly. Wise words.
right.
Word.
Definitely, definitely salute. Because don't get me wrong. I do subscribe to a lot of the red pill ideology, and I've been public about that. But at the same
Too.
time, though, uh,
I do
right,
too.
right, but exactly. But because the truth is the truth, and don't get me wrong, there's a difference between what a truth is, what a fact is, and what evidence is. But that goes into another discussion right there. But at the same time, though, we still need to keep in mind that that's not the number one problem affecting the planet. This is just a byproduct of another problem. You see, you see,
Yeah.
la semilla de los problemas in the planet, or the seed of the problem, like I stated before, is the race problem. You see,
Sí, es verdad.
where
Es verdad.
yeah, yeah,
Es verdad.
definitely,
Pero
definitely.
I think that will be the conclusion. Me personally, I don't like to give advice to people. I just try to share my point of view, and if they think that this is something that they can do, they're very welcome. That's what I do too. I don't do what you say just because you say it. No, I need to analyze this, and I need to see if it's going to really work for me. But yeah, that's in conclusion. People need to be more open to listen, to pay attention, and to work on how they're going to relate with themselves. With the other gender, to have good relationships.
Right. Exactly. And ask questions, ask the right questions. And it may,
Yeah, ask
and
the
who
right
knows, it
questions.
may not be good for the relationship, or it may be great for the relationship. It may end up
Yeah,
saving the both of y'all, whether
time,
for a long term
time,
relationship, or to save time. Exactly. But it needs to
time.
get done.
Though,
It needs to get done right there. So
yeah,
that's
money,
what I
money.
have
I
to state right there.
understand. Money, it's really important. And when you lose money, it's like, oh my god, yes, I have to work to get that money again. However, time
Exactly.
to save
Exactly.
time. Avoid wasting your time with somebody that it's not for you.
Real talk. Real talk. And I'm sure that you, the viewer, can't afford to waste any more time, because you've probably been in a bad situation before, or numerous bad situations. But hopefully, from listening to the both of us build on this topic, hopefully you'll end up moving in the right direction.
Yes,
You see.
yes.
But did you have any concluding points?
No, that's basically it. That's what I do. that I want to do myself, and that's what I advise people to do. Like if they like to, if they're willing to do that and practice that, just try to listen and be more open to have good relationships.
Understandable, understandable.
Yeah.
Hey, excellent, excellent. Well, there you have it. There you have it. You know, I'm BARUTI LIBRE, SAI NERIS, and we build on the topic of dating, sociology, the differences in the United States and the DR. There are differences, but then there aren't a lot of differences. Actually, we're still in the Western
Yes.
Hemisphere, and the thing about it is that the ethnicities that we supposedly claim were created based on trauma anyway, and we were just born
Yeah.
into it. So the purpose, while we're here, is to solve problems and conclusions. So please take this into consideration. I hope that you enjoyed. Peace and blessings. Adios. Nos vemos.
Bye.
Peace.